welcome. I'm so excited to be able to talk with Scott Graham again. Scott, I'm just excited to continue this conversation and get to know a little bit more about this process. So, why would someone want to take the flexibility index test, or better known as FIT-60, in the months prior to their psychedelic experience?
What the FIT-60 or the flexibility index test, I'm gonna start calling it FIT-60. Can't have trouble pronouncing that, but I'm gonna say FIT-60 throughout
Okay.
the whole piece. And when I say that, I'm referring to this test. What that tells you is your amount of psychological flexibility. And that's an important piece, especially when it comes to your psychedelic experience, because your psychedelic experience is fluid, it's dynamic. It might shine a light on your dark side or your bright side. And if you come into it incredibly rigid without flexibility, you might not have a great experience. I mean, think of it like this. If you were going on a vacation and you said, this is what the vacation has to have. It has to have this, it has to have this, it has to have this, and if it doesn't have those five things, it's a sucks, right? It's a worthless vacation. And then you go on there and two things happen. And you might have had four other great things happen that wasn't on your initial list, and you flushed the whole vacation down the toilet. The FIT will help you assess your psychological flexibility so that you won't flush your psychedelic experience down the toilet.
Okay. All right. So we find the test. We'll talk about that later, right? You'll tell us where to find it, but
Yeah,
we
you can
go
find it
take.
right on my website, and you can take that test and you'll get your scores immediately.
Okay. So we go there to, where do we go to get the test?
Psychedelicsupportcoach.com. Easy to remember.
Right. Psychedelicsupportcoach.com. Okay. So we go there, we get the test, we get the answers to the test, and then what?
Well, they're your answers, and so the test's going to give you a score. It's going to give you a total score, and it's going to give you 6 subscores that have been shown to impact psychological flexibility: acceptance, diffusion, self as contact, self as context, sorry, present moment, values, and commitment. 6
Okay.
different subscores.
All right. I see. What happens? What do you do with that information?
Well, the benefit of these scores is that you just don't get a black and white answer as to how psychologically flexible you are. That's your total score. But these subscores let you triage that score, and you will see that in some areas you're going to score higher than others. You might score really high in acceptance, but really low in present moment, or really high in diffusion and self as context, but really low in values and commitment. And so you can triage those scores, and then you can take action to improve those.
Okay. How do you do that?
Well, coaching. I mean, I mean, I mean, that's the default answer. But someone comes to me with coaching, and we're going to go through and develop a very specific plan related to the sub-score they're focusing on, and work together to follow that plan so that theoretically they're going to have more psychological flexibility in the coming days, weeks, and months.
Okay. So what exactly are you going to do with them? Like, how do you walk them through that process and create the plan?
Well, this is all based on a type of therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy. And it's a type of psychotherapy that helps you through life's difficulties by teaching you how to accept your thoughts and how to accept your feelings, and build an ability to live in the present moment instead of worrying about the past or worrying about the future. You go through this process to do certain things. And that's going to help you when you have your psychedelic experience, because you're going to be totally in the present moment, or more in the present moment than you were before you started this process.
Okay. So you acceptance and commitment therapy. So I've heard that referred to as ACT or ACT,
That is
right?
correct. That is correct.
Okay.
And all this information, including practice techniques, mindfulness activities, values clarification exercises, and more, it's all readily available on the internet. Easy peasy.
All right. So you can learn this through coaching, like and working with you,
Uh-huh. Or
or
you
you,
can learn, you can be a DIYer, you
okay.
know, use the internet like Home Depot and do that electrical and plumbing work on yourself. You don't
Okay. So
need somebody.
if somebody wanted to do this themselves and go to the internet and what do they go Google? What
All
do
right,
they do?
so go to Google and put in ACT, the first thing, because that's what this is based on. You don't have to type acceptance and commitment therapy. You can just put ACT and then just put, what can I do to increase X? And X is one of those subscores. So you might say, what ACT, what can I do to increase diffusion? If diffusion was a score, a subscore you were not high on, or ACT, what can I do to increase acceptance? If that was a subscore you were not high on, and you're going to be flooded with websites that have strategies, tips, and techniques for you to move in that direction.
Okay, that sounds pretty easy.
It is pretty easy, easy peasy.
All right. So let me get this straight. You get
Six, that's it.
six subscores: acceptance, diffusion, self as context.
Correct. Not self as contact, like I said earlier, context.
Okay. Present moment,
Hmm?
values, and commitment.
Correct.
So in each one of those subsets, there are a certain number of questions that would give a person a score in each
Mhm.
area, and you can
Mhm.
do better in some than others.
Correct. Correct. They
Okay.
all tend to be related, but you will see differences in those.
Okay, so they could go and talk to you and you'll walk them through it as a coach,
Mhm.
or go to Google and say ACT, how do I improve commitment?
Exact. That's it. That's exactly it.
All right. Is that all there is to it?
That is all there is to it.
Well, why would somebody want to hire you as a coach instead of doing that?
Well, because, and this should be no surprise to people, because we're loaded with books, web pages, uh, PDFs, all on what we need to do to be healthy and better in our lives.
We
If
know how to lose weight.
we,
We eat better, and we
yeah,
move our body more.
right. That's not a secret. Like there's nobody saying, oh, the secret to better health is eat more apples and less chocolate. Like that's not a secret. It's not a secret that, smoking is bad for you. It's not a secret that exercise is good for you. Lots of people make these commitments and have good intentions about doing things, and they don't follow through. And that is a key thing that coaching helps you with. You could read a million books, and without support from a coach or a counselor or a therapist or a mastermind group, you're not going to move forward.
Right. And so what does that extra support give a person, having a coach in their corner?
Well, you're going to have if you're working with me as a coach, you're going to have me in your corner 24/7. So when you come up against a wall, you'll be able to call me and talk to me. If you have struggles with something, we'll talk about it. We'll triage that. We'll focus on that. And you'll find yourself moving forward around these things that you were struggling with.
And that's rare in a coach to be able to have that kind of support, even, hiring the best, but you're there 24/7 to,
24/7. Call
yeah,
me.
that's amazing.
And
And then
and what I tell clients is, some clients are like, "Oh, I'm not going to call you on a Saturday night." I'm like, "Don't worry. If I've got good boundaries and I take care of myself. If I'm like struggling or I'm not in a good space or whatever, I'm not going to talk to you on the phone. But if you need something, I'd rather somebody call me when they're having difficulties and for me to have a 5-minute conversation than for them to do nothing for 2 weeks, waste that time, waste their life, come to the next coaching session and be like, I didn't do anything because I got stuck 2 weeks ago."
Right.
Well, a
Right.
5-minute call could fix that.
And that's why you are the best.
Oh, you're sweet. You're sweet. I can't wait till our next call. Boy, this is really good for my self-esteem.
All right. So how does somebody work with you?
All you have to do is go to psychedelicsupportcoach.com. This assessment, the FIT-60, is available there. You can take it and you can go the DIY route. You can also take some other assessments there. We talked about the mystical experience questionnaire the last time we were together. There's a few other pieces that you can tap into to really make your psychedelic experience all that it can be.
That's fantastic. Okay, one more time. What's that website?
psychedelicsupportcoach.com.
And if somebody wanted to just call you right here, right now, they just want to get a hold of you immediately, what do they do?
I'm in Boston, and it's 617-294-9093. 617-294-9093.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks again, Andrea. This was great.